a Playlyst original.
Welcome to the Pilot Podcast,
where we review the pilot episodes of TV shows to answer your question, should I watch this?
My name is BJ.
And my name is Mitu.
And this week, we're watching The GOAT on Prime Video, The Big Cigar on Apple TV+, Bodkin on Netflix, and Sugar on Apple TV+.
So stay tuned to the end to find out what BJ's favorite backyard party game was.
Yeah, I'll keep thinking about it.
I feel like your brain really got to work for a second.
You got me thinking, and those gears are spinning.
Okay, until then, why don't you tell us what happened in The GOAT on Prime Video /Freevee?
Sure, we're going to your favorite genre of television, reality TV, where Daniel Tosh is welcoming 14 reality superstars in a hilarious, drama-filled competition show where both the strong and totally clueless can survive. Each week, bachelors, housewives, Food Network stars, and Shaws of Sunset will face off and eliminate each other until one person is crowned reality television's greatest of all time. So, Mitu, you are familiar with a lot of these cast members, and I know some of them as well. What was it like seeing them all compete and interact?
I'm a Jill Zarin truther. I loved her on Real Houses of New York. Truther sounds so aggressive. I don't know what I believe the truth about her. I just liked her on my TV. You and I both loved CJ from F-Boy Island. She was the star of that show, and she has so many funny one-liners on this. And my overall thought when I saw this cast was that it was clear that they saw the success of a House of Villains, the success of a Traitors, especially in the US version where they have these reality stars compete. And they were like, you know what? Who is available? Because they literally said 14 of the greatest contestants in reality TV whose schedule aligned with filming. And so it is clear that they quickly rented a little Verbo, got this group of people together, and then rolled the cameras. And they did a great job. There's great chemistry here. Oh, and I must say I love Justin / Alyssa. She's one of my favorite contestants on Drag Race of all the seasons.
I agree, it's a good cast. It does feel like they pulled together who was available. I was happy to see Lauren from Love is Blind. I feel like they're the only couple that showed that it could work.
Yes.
And I also like that alliances quickly formed based on network. Were you on a Bravo show? Were you from the Bachelor franchise? Were you a Netflix reality show? These people quickly connected, whether or not they really knew each other. The Bravo Bachelors people seem to already have connections, but the others, they just kind of sat down and were like, let's do this together.
Yes, what I think happened is the Bravo baddies, Andy does a good job of gathering those people a lot. The Bravo cons, the different events, the Watch What Happens Live. He has different people from different casts come together. So it doesn't surprise me that they would be familiar with each other. And then that familiarity only deepens when you think, okay, I just have these people right in front of me. So it is what it is. And then same for the Bachelor baddies. They have Bachelor in Paradise. They have these shows where there are these crossovers. They have these events. They have their own cons. I am not part of Bachelor Nation, but I know it's a whole thing over there. You know, maybe I'll apply for a visa one day and come through. But it's just, they also spend a lot of time together. But the CBS sisters, those people were just like, you know what? I was on Paramount Plus. Were you? Great. So I think all we have to trust is each other. And so that was also interesting to watch because it was like, I was on Survivor. I was on The Challenge. We have the same parent company. And so it just is what it is.
And I think that adds to the, let's call it, charm of this show. As you said, they rented a vacation home. They're only putting up $200,000 as the prize. We just finished Deal or No Deal Island, where they had a much bigger pot that they were chasing after. And based on the pilot episode and the previews for future episodes, all of the challenges will be in the backyard, on site, local.
Very local, hyper local, sustainable.
Yes, we're not going to waste fuel traveling to another venue when we can just walk down the stairs.
On traders, there's pyrotechnics, there's these boats, there's helicopters, there's water, there's all this stuff. And on this show, they swim from one end of the pool to the other and do essentially a backyard relay race. And it seems like they'll do something like that every episode. But I like that. I liked the charm of it. It just felt very self-aware. They were like, we got these people who were available. We got this house. And now we'll just make sure to go to the Dollar Tree down the street and make sure we have the supplies we need for about 10 episodes of fun right here in this backyard. It kind of reminded me of my other favorite reality show, Hoochie Daddies, which is on YouTube. Season 1 was on Tubi. And every activity the Hoochie Daddies do is like in a backyard, and they just sort of, they have like a t-shirt painting contest or arts and crafts or trivia or like who can hold a plank the longest. And there's just something very charming about gathering a really exciting group of people that are interesting to watch and then having them do simple activities where their personalities shine.
I agree. I think it's charming, a little silly, very lighthearted, and I think that helps that it's not super competitive. We're really just seeing people with big personalities live together in a house, sometimes just stand and balance coconuts for as long as they can.
Shout out to our VP.
And we'll see who is the GOAT.
Exactly. And I do, to get into ratings for the GOAT on Prime Video, want to know who the GOAT is. I'm in. I would watch again casually. I want to see it through to the end. And I think if you like these kinds of shows, if you enjoyed House of Villains, if you enjoyed Traders, if you enjoy Hoochie Daddies, I would recommend the GOAT to you. I think it'll be fun to watch through.
I feel like with the Hoochie Daddies limited budget, you really deserve a cut for all the marketing you've been doing for them. I
have recruited, I think I'm like 10% of those YouTube views. The number of people I have brought into Hoochie Daddies Nation. Hoochie Daddies Hive.
Well, I have not been brought into that. The GOAT hasn't fully pulled me in. I would say this is a would watch while cooking. It's entertaining. It's light and fun. I don't necessarily need to know who is the GOAT of this cast.
Fair.
Okay, so how about we go from very lighthearted to very serious, real issues?
You're talking about The Big Cigar on Apple TV Plus, loosely based on a true story and set in 1974. This series chronicles the manhunt for Huey P. Newton, portrayed by the perfect Andre Holland, who is the co-founder of the Black Panther Party, and he gets help from film producer Bert Schneider, played by Alessandro Nivola, to escape to Cuba with his girlfriend Gwen Fontaine, played by Tiffany Boone.
I will say I think this is a good piece of history that lends itself to TV, like a manhunt, trying to escape, trying to avoid the FBI. These are elements you already see in fiction. And so it's cool that we're seeing it with a historical figure.
And the Black Panthers were so good at capturing the attention of media. They were really good at telling stories about capturing eyes that it almost feels natural that this kind of bombastic Hollywood storytelling of Huey Newton's life would happen. Would he have appreciated it? I'm not sure, because they allude to it in the pilot episode. He doesn't like that iconic photo. He didn't want to take it of him in that wicker seat with the rifle and the staff. And so I think maybe there's some complications to this storytelling, but it is fun. And I would say Andre Holland is acting in this one.
What did you think of the narration that he does throughout the episode?
I thought it injected a lot of really good humor into it, and it brought his voice into it in a way that I think was missing from the show overall. I think the pilot episode focused a little bit too much on the producers, the white producers who were helping Huey Newton versus Huey Newton himself. And so I liked that the narration helped to pull focus back especially because it also made the show feel more storytelling for storytelling's sake and less historical. Because the main critiques I've seen of this show, I read a really good article by a writer named Ellen Jones in The Guardian about this, is like, can you actually trust Hollywood to tell an effective story of Black radicals? And I appreciated that critique, but I think in this one, especially with this narration, it's clearly supposed to be story for story and less for accuracy.
Yes, I think this is fully story. They say at the beginning this is based on a true story, and we all know what that really means. That's just the inspiration for whatever they created.
Huey Newton existed.
Yeah.
And go.
These people have the same names as real people. Done.
Exactly. And I like the way they played Huey Newton trusting and not trusting Schneider, because I think that was always an interesting relationship to explore between Black Panthers and Hollywood. One really good documentary I recommend is Black Panthers Vanguard of the Revolution. It's like a little controversial in how it feels a little apolitical for such a political group, but it captured really well how obsessed Hollywood was with them and how the Black Panthers used that to their advantage. And I think that is captured well in this story as well.
Yeah. Going back to the narration for a moment, I like that it feels like Huey is watching this show with us with some of the commentary. And I think the narrator, Huey, can kind of see how Hollywood is twisting, not necessarily in a malicious way, but just an entertainment way, twisting this story of his life.
That's such a good point. I didn't think about it that way, but he is us in this, that narration. And I also think the narration brought some humor to the storytelling. There is humor in the pain, which I enjoyed as well. I was surprised to find myself doing this, but laughing quite a bit in this first episode.
Which I think is very important for such a dark story, or dark elements to a story. You need something to break it up. You don't need to, but it helps a lot to have something break it up if you're going to get through all of this.
Yeah, it lets the air out a little bit. So with that, do you want to keep watching The Big Cigar on Apple TV Plus?
This is going to be a would watch while cooking. I don't think it's going to have my full attention, but I am curious how they're going to portray the rest of Huey's story. How do you feel?
I think the story, as we shared, felt a little too focused on the producers, and that's where it kind of lost me, and that's what's stopping me from saying would watch again seriously. But I am Andre Holland Hive, so I do want to keep watching. Actually, right after I watched this pilot yesterday to take some notes on it, I went to the Whitney Museum, and he was part of an exhibit, and he was so beautiful in it.
It was meant to be.
It was meant to be. All right, well, let's take things from one true story to one fictional but interesting story.
You're talking about Bodkin on Netflix. Will Forte plays Gilbert Power, an American podcaster looking to discover his Irish roots. He travels to Bodkin, an Irish coastal town, to investigate a cold case involving 3 people who disappeared. And he's joined by the Dublin-born Dove Maloney, played by Siobhan Cullen, who's an investigative journalist sent away from London and taking a break from her day job. So, Mitu, what did you think of this true crime podcast?
This was Only Murders in the Building, but Irish, so it immediately had my attention. I am Only Murders in the Building Hive, and so you make it Irish, I'm in. And so I liked that, and I liked that they had this kind of meta conversation when they were in a bar where someone is asking them about the podcast. I thought that was a very funny running joke when they come to the town and everyone's like, "You're making a podcast. Are people going to listen to it?" And one of the questions that the residents asks in the bar is this going to be one of those podcasts where it's supposed to be about one thing and then it becomes about so many other things? And they're like, no, we're telling a story. We don't like that trope. But that's obviously what this becomes, where I'm not that interested in the disappearances that they're trying to figure out, but I am interested in what is going on in this town and what is going on in this group of 3 podcasters, because they each have something going on.
100% agree. I think this story about 3 people disappearing during a festival that's related to our now holiday, Halloween, not that exciting. And even Gilbert is like, I'm just here to tell the story. I'm not even trying to find these 3 missing people.
Yeah.
But as you alluded to, as we meet more people in the town, it's a little weird. They keep saying a lot of similar things. We're just a small town with good people. That's already a red flag. And I'm curious how that is going to develop more than what the podcast is actually about.
They even meet a couple quote unquote good-natured people that I immediately was suspicious of.
And we also have Dove. We know that she doesn't want to be here. She's very grumpy, very serious, but she also seems to be picking up on some weird things that Gilbert and Emmy don't see. So I liked that contrast of like one person diving straight in and 2 people kind of fumbling into the mystery.
Yes, because it will clearly take all 3 of them, but I like that contrast as well. And I like that Emmy is not as sweet and innocent as we are to think she is upon meeting her. She has a streak to her where she's willing to do what it takes to get to the truth.
She's a risk taker.
She's a risk taker.
Yeah, she wants to learn more about this. I think she sees Gilbert as an impressive figure, although we learn that he has his flaws as well. And I think it's going to be cool to see her grow as a researcher and dive further into the podcasting world, as we also see Dove, who I think inevitably will become more of a team player.
Yeah, I think she'll have to be to figure out what's going on. But can you tell what's going on or where this is going?
Yeah, they're in a town. They're in Bodkin.
Guide me. Tell me where it's going then.
I think they'll stay in Bodkin. I think the whole show will be set in Bodkin. Mm-hmm. And, 3 people disappeared, and it's just a small town with good people. Me too. No serial killers in a small town with good people.
So as evidenced by your response, I think the one thing we need more of from Bodkin is they don't give enough of where they're going. I'm not saying for a mystery show you have to show your hand, but we needed a little bit more to go on than what they offer in this pilot episode. Either about our crew or about this town or about those missing 3 people, but something. This episode, I felt confused by the end of it because I expected at least some kind of reveal or something after 47 minutes telling me kind of where this is headed next. And you really can't tell.
That's a good point. And I think the writers tried to do that at the end of the pilot. There are some bigger things that happen.
Fair.
But we still have a lot of questions about that. So they don't lead us anywhere or really provide any direction. It's just, here's another mystery.
So do you need more direction, or do you want to watch more episodes of Bodkin on Netflix to find out where it's going?
I need more direction. Walk me down the path, guide me, give me a map. I would watch while folding laundry. I think there is something exciting here with the true crime podcast element, but they haven't given me enough information yet to know if it's worthwhile. How do you feel?
I think I'm going to surprise you with this, but I would watch again seriously.
Seriously? You surprised me.
It's nice to know we can keep it fresh this many years into our relationship. But the reason I would watch again seriously is because you genuinely can't tell where this is going in this first episode. And it feels like a show that is made to be watched in one sitting. So the way that I will watch this and the way I would recommend this to Mystery Hive is if you have like a cozy Sunday afternoon ahead of you, which I currently have, that I look forward to, put this show on and enjoy it for the rest of the afternoon so that you have all your little questions answered and then you have a satisfying conclusion, hopefully, to this mysterious tale.
Okay. Well, you can let me know how this mystery wraps up and also tell me about another mystery.
You're talking about Sugar on Apple TV+. My boyfriend Colin Farrell plays John Sugar, a private detective who investigates the disappearance of Olivia Siegel, played by Sydney Chandler, the granddaughter of Hollywood bigwig Jonathan Siegel, played by James Cromwell. As Sugar tries to learn what happened to Olivia, he unearths Siegel family secrets, old and new.
Wow, it's so great to see your boyfriend starring in this show. And I think what's really cool is that your boyfriend's show incorporates a lot of different styles. That stood out to me immediately, like black and white, different cuts of clips as he's thinking about movies that he loves. And it's just amazing that your boyfriend got to be a part of this production.
Thank you. And I'll share those kind words with him. You know, I usually like to go into these pilot episodes really fresh, but in this case, like, obviously I did read the pilot ahead of time. I helped him choose this script, and we knew, like, this is kind of funky, this is kind of different, but, like, your personality, your beautiful face and hair and accent, like, is made for something like this. So we did have a conversation about it, and I did help him pick it. And what I specifically loved about this pilot episode is everybody is suspicious, frankly, including our victim, ? Victim?
It's true. Even though I will say it's a rather generic and boring case of a missing rich girl.
Yes.
We've seen that in a lot of detective shows, a lot of mystery shows, a lot of crime shows. However, they do set up all the people around Olivia, including Olivia as well. Something is going on. They're hiding something. They don't want Sugar, aka your boyfriend, to know something. Or Sugar, a.k.a. the character your boyfriend plays, to know what they know. And I think it's pretty cool to have suspicious characters involved in the mystery and have them be suspicious of Sugar, who's investigating the mystery.
Yes, we don't know what the deal is with her stepbrother, David, played by Nate Cordry. We don't know what the deal is with her former stepmom, Melanie, played by Amy Ryan. So we have some stunt casting here. But then we don't know what the deal is with Sugar as he interacts with them. So I like that everyone is a little bit unreliable because we don't know people's motivations yet. And to your point, this is a classic concept. Rich girl, especially like Hollywood darling, goes missing and an investigator is hired to discreetly find her and return her or share what has happened. But in this case, I like that they made it kind of funky with the noir elements, with the narration, with the shaky camera shots, with the fact that we can't quite tell what year this is. Like, there are phones and cell phones, but there's also his suit and hair. His style is very old-timey. The way they dress his handler, Ruby, played by Kirby Howell-Baptiste, feels a mix of old-timey and current. So it is just disorienting in a fun and interesting way. So it feels like a fresh take or a different take on this classic mystery tale.
And I appreciate as well that within this pilot episode, they were able to show us how skilled Sugar is. The opening scenes, we see Sugar wrapping up a case. So we know what he's capable of. We know he can get the job done. And I feel like that really helps you follow Sugar along because you trust him a bit more than the other suspicious people.
That's true. They have a lot of scenes where he does highly skilled things, like catching and releasing a fly with chopsticks. And you see him do really, really good things for people, like take care of a number of characters, especially vulnerable characters in this pilot episode. And I agree, I hadn't considered it in those terms, but I think those were building trust in Sugar, at least, because everyone else, including the camera, can be pretty shaky.
Yeah, and we still have reasons to question Sugar. He is clearly hiding something. Mm-hmm. He's not that good at hiding that he's hiding something.
And he has these flashbacks. We don't know his motivations.
We don't. But maybe you do, with access to, the actor playing Sugar, aka your boyfriend.
Oh, well, Call and I don't like to read much further into the scripts because I like to enjoy it like the people.
Am I just the people?
Yes.
Feels a little demeaning, but okay.
All the little fans.
Anyway, will you keep watching more episodes of Sugar on Apple TV Plus, like The People, to find out what's happening with your boyfriend's character?
Yes, love being the people as in power to the. I will keep watching more episodes of Sugar. I will watch this again seriously, not just because of my close personal romantic relationship with Colin Farrell, but also because it was so intriguing and so interesting and so different to me. I know it has mixed reviews, but for me and hopefully for Mystery Hive, I think this is one that will really grab us. It's just so funky.
I agree that it's funky and a cool mystery. I'm a little more lukewarm on it. I would put this at would watch while eating lunch. I think your boyfriend, romantic partner, lover, you know, soulmate, Colin Farrell, does a great job. And so to support you, I will support him by continuing to watch.
I thank you, and we thank you.
You're welcome.
So with that, what was your favorite backyard game?
I don't know if this counts as a game, but this is my answer. I have fond memories with friends and cousins having water balloon fights in the backyard.
That's a good one. Those were so fun. You know, one of these episodes of The GOAT is just going to be like, who gets the most like tie-dye or dyed water in the water balloons so you can tell what color hit people, who hits the most people with the water balloons. They're going to do something like that.
You should be a producer on The GOAT.
I'll be just like the most sustainable producer. I will have the most efficient budgets.
You said, guys, we're going to Dollar Tree. We've got a, what's this, $60 budget and 10 episodes. Let's get our supplies.
Well, you know who my consultant would be?
Me?
Woody, the host, creator, and executive producer of Hoochie Daddies.
Can I at least be like an intern?
Yes, because she already has a production manager, and I would just pull that person over too.
So really, this is just the Hoochie Daddies production team.
Yes.
Okay, well, if you want to hear more of our ideas or probably reviews of television series, head to our website at thepilotpodcast.com, and you can follow us on all of your favorite podcast platforms.
You can also follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter at The Pilot Pod, and you can send thoughts, feelings, show recommendations, because every other week we do a show recommended by you, our wonderful listeners, to askthepilotpodcast@gmail.com. Thanks for listening.
Bye.